Hi guys, and thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Today I want to share my first impressions of the premiere episode of The Earth, the first part of the 4 Elements 4 series project, which also includes the water, the fire, and the air, releasing later this year. This episode had a lot riding on it because it isn't just introducing one story, it's setting the tone for the entire 4 Elements universe. And honestly, it didn't just meet my expectations, it exceeded them. Once Northstar Entertainment took over the production as a sole owner, I assumed the series was going to be good, but watching the premiere, it was clear that a lot of care and intention went into it. The cinematography really stood out to me. It felt dynamic but still grounded, and every shot seemed purposeful. It didn't rely on the typical GL visual language. Instead, it felt like the camera was being used to support the mood and emotion in a more cinematic way, which immediately elevated the episode. If you're not familiar with the show's premise, I'll summarize it from my drama list. In The Earth, Rose, the heir to a farm, returns to Thailand from the United States after her father falls into a coma following a suspicious accident. Upon her return, she is targeted by a rival farm owner who is attempting to get her to marry his son in order to gain her land for illegal activities. Then, Rose's childhood friend and now the owner of another nearby farm, at the request of Rose's father, intervenes to protect her, which leads to Din and Rose getting married in order to preserve Rose's interests. Eventually, the marriage gradually evolves into something real. On paper, these are familiar themes: childhood friends, land disputes, forced proximity, and slow burn romance. But what stood out to me was how focused and restrained the writing felt. The episode did not overload us with unnecessary exposition. The information we were given was relevant, timely, and emotionally motivated. It felt like the writers trusted the audience to follow along without being spoon-fed. The emotional core of the episode really falls to Apple and Mim. From the moment they meet again, their chemistry is already evident. It comes through in small gestures and how they occupy the space around each other. Apple in particular is exactly who I hoped she would be in this role. I've said it before on this channel and I'll say it again. Apple is one of my favorite Thai actresses and I've been impatiently waiting for The Earth to start. She really shines here in how she balances intensity and softness. I've noticed a lot of actresses struggle to convincingly sell both ends of that emotional spectrum, but Apple's aura never feels off. With her, the protective energy and emotional vulnerability feel like the two sides of the same character rather than separate modes of performance. Mim also impressed me. I hadn't seen any of her work before, so I went in without any strong expectations. Her emotional transparency, especially in her crying scenes, felt grounded and authentic rather than melodramatic. Those tears felt real. It never felt forced or out of place. Also, why is Mim always serving face? Even in distress, this woman is serving face. What I especially appreciated was how the series handled familiar GL tropes. The childhood connection is established but without leaning too heavily into exaggerated romantic staging. There's a moment when Din brings Rose back to her farm and I fully expected the classic move where she would open the door for her and gaze softly into her eyes before helping her out of the vehicle. Instead, Din just exits the driver's side and walks straight to the house without even looking back. I don't know why, but this moment made me laugh so hard. It felt refreshingly natural and unromantic in the best way. With that being said, the fan service moments that were included actually made sense in context. The two that stood out were Rose shyly looking at Din after not seeing her for 14 years, and Din tending to Rose with an ice pack after she hits her head. Yes, the proximity is intimate, but both moments are story-driven rather than purely aesthetic. My favorite part of the episode is definitely ending, where it's revealed that their feelings for each other go all the way back to childhood. What made this especially effective was how the show also established Din's close relationship with Rose's father. Instead of simply telling us he trusts Din, the series shows us their bond, history, and their emotional closeness. So when it becomes clear that Din is the person he would entrust Rose to, it feels earned. This is a perfect example of strong visual storytelling. They showed us instead of just telling us. The rural setting also plays an important role. Most jails are usually in an urban setting, normally centered around Bangkok. So the countryside immediately gives the Earth a distinct atmosphere and it is a refreshing change. The cinematography really leans into the natural beauty of the setting and it adds a calm, grounded tone to the story. Looking ahead, my main hope is that the series maintains the focus it has established. The writing currently feels disciplined and intentional. I would hate to see it fall into the common trap of introducing too many subplots and then rushing to tie everything everything together by the end. If this level of quality holds, the Earth could set a new standard for ensemble GL dramas. It's already making me think differently about upcoming projects like Girl Rules. And compared to last year's Unlimited Love, in my mind, it is already leagues ahead. It feels far more controlled and confident, at least so far. So who is this for? If you like emotional stories with real stakes, a bit of action, and a slow burn romance, this is definitely one to check out. And also, don't forget the larger 4 Elements project itself is also stacked with pairings like Free and Becky, Inglot, and the new pairing of Namdong Noi, which is especially exciting if you follow BNK48. Overall, 4 Elements has had an incredibly strong start with the Earth and its beautiful cinematography, a capable cast, and focused story. If the rest of the series continues with the same level of care, it's shaping up to be a defining series in a major year for Thai GL dramas. But yeah guys, let me know what you thought about the premiere of The Earth. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you somewhere in between? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed my ramblings, I invite you to like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye!